Ladies and gentlemen, let's Gaming Technicom video. Are you interested in Windows 10? Well, if you're a PC gamer, there's a very good chance you probably are. And so finally we have information regarding the upgrade paths available to you if you own previous versions of Windows, as well as information regarding the actual versions of Windows 10, because obviously it's not just Windows 10 and that's it. There are multiple different versions planned by Microsoft, and we have some information regarding them. So the one that I think most of us are going to be interested in other words, the average person, if you will, and I really hate that term, but I can't think of much else, so there we go, is going to be Windows 10 Home. So this is going to be the one that's going to be available for desktops, it's going to be for laptops, 2-in-1 platforms, and so on. Now, it will be utilizing Microsoft's new Edge web browser. Now, there has actually been a recent upgrade or update or whatever the hell you want to say for Windows 10, the beta, which I'm currently rocking. And I'll probably cover it because the browser is better or better-ish. Personally, I don't know if we're going to be ditching Chrome or Firefox, but it's better than IE. But that's not really that difficult, to be fair. Anyway, there's also going to be other features such as advanced sign-in and facial recognition. Cortana, of course, is going to be there. You've got the Xbox One gaming integration, which, to be totally blunt with you, is not really surprising. Microsoft are obviously trying to shove that down everyone's throats. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that they're not going to just be like, oh, well, this is for the Pro version or something. You have to pay extra for that. Obviously, they want to get the Xbox One mentality into as many people as possible, and the idea to stream between the two devices and so on is definitely something that many people are going to want to be interested in. There are problems with it. Obviously, one of those is not being able to join domains, and there's also going to be missing features such as certain remote desktop features and functionality. I don't know how many people are going to care about that on the average thing. I mean, yes, reduced network functionality, as far as what I understand, and obviously this has not been, you know, subject to change and all, but it would appear that, for example, you won't be able to join a domain, which, I don't know. It doesn't really affect me, but I'm sure it'll bug some people. Moving on to Windows 10 Mobile. So, mobile, is it going to shock you, but it's actually for tablets and smartphones. I know, that's amazing. It's going to be closer to the Windows R10 was originally intended to do. So Windows R10, RT, I'm sorry, not R10, RT, promised a lot, but it didn't necessarily give all that Microsoft had promised it would deliver. So it's going to be very much developed for the touch interface. And obviously we'll still have those universal applications. It's going to have the very familiar look and feel of Windows 10, but the UI is going to be instead developed for touch. And you're even going to get Office functionality, which once again is developed for Windows Touch. Most likely this, of course, will be available for both ARM and x86/64 variants, because it would just be absolutely silly of Microsoft not to do that, so that's pretty much a guarantee. And indeed, a slight variant of this will actually be Windows 10 Mobile Enterprise. It's kind of a new branch. It has much of the look and feel of the previous version that we just mentioned. The main difference here is it's going to be volume licensing. You're going to have additional security, for example, authentication and whatever else you need. And also mobile device management options, which may be of interest to larger corporations, not necessarily smaller businesses. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Windows 10 Pro. Unfortunately, Microsoft haven't been so forthcoming with Windows 10 Pro details. Now, typically, if you've ever used Pro versions of the Windows OS, you'll know that there are some differences. For example, remote desktop sessions could be hosted. You've got different RAM loadouts that can happen, as well as Hyper-V and other bits and bobs. Microsoft have said that they will be updated for business, such as the ability to join an Active Directory domain. And you're also going to get some more enterprise-y type of features. For example, for those who are network administrators or, you know, admins in general, you'll be able to have maintenance windows which can be easily specified, and just like Windows 10, these updates can actually be delivered peer-to-peer. which is kind of cool for those who want to save a lot of memory bandwidth. Obviously, some businesses or server farms, that type of thing, that's kind of a big deal, because even if necessarily not paying per gigabyte, you don't want to tie up all of your network resources because, I know, Microsoft decide to give an automatic update. I'm kind of, simplifying things a bit. Anyway, there is also going to be an educational version of Windows. There's less details available. Supposedly, it's going to be really designed to tackle the advancement of Chromebooks in schools, but Microsoft haven't really said much. They just said that it's going to really be adapted towards educational use, which I guess means some of the shiny features are going to be stripped away, and it might even have a few enterprisey features as well, since schools, larger institutions and so on. So what about the upgrade paths? Because I know many of you are probably waiting and eagerly, with anticipation, you're drooling at the prospect. Well, it's actually kind of easy. From what we understand, if you're running a standard version of Windows 7 or 8, you can upgrade to Windows 10 Home based on the version you've got. So, for example, you're running Windows 7 Home, you get Windows 10 Home. You're running Windows 7 Pro, you get Windows 10 Pro. Same thing for Windows 8. I won't go through the whole thing again. Presumably, because Microsoft aren't really saying too much at the moment, it's going to be very similar for Windows on mobile, but there's been less information. It's safe to say that 2-in-1s will get kind of a desktop versions of the operating system, while standard tablets might get the Windows 10 mobile upgrade. But right now, that's just speculation. Microsoft, unfortunately, is still being a little cagey, which is a bit of a sad face. Unfortunately, Microsoft still haven't given an exact release date, so it's not like we know it's August the 12th or something like that. They are saying it will be summer this year, obviously, not next. But that's about it. So it could be in 2 days' time. Obviously, it's very unlikely to be then, or it could be the very last day of summer for all we know. Or it might slip back a little bit. Let's hope it doesn't slip back, shall we? Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'm kind of looking forward to Windows 10. I'm running the beta, and it's a beta, it's got problems. Obviously, occasionally Windows Explorer says to me, yeah, I kind of on suicide watch at the moment. So if you want to do anything that's kind of work related, I'd suggest you restart me, because otherwise I'm just going to crash every bloody process you've got. And hibernation for some reason has just tanked on my system since I've done a update to Windows 10. But apart from that, it's pretty stable, which is a good sign. Obviously, if it's not stable at this point, even slightly, then there's a good indication that you're going to have problems. I imagine most of the stuff is going to be ironed out, and yes, the retail release is probably still going to have bugs and missing features or whatever, but obviously Microsoft can do rolling updates. The important thing is, does it work to a degree where Microsoft are confident by the release point that people aren't going to get really, really angry because, you've just typed up a 1,000-word document, and obviously you should save anyway, but, you've typed up a 1,000-word document, and it's just like, nah, actually I'm just going to crash now. Because that makes people really cranky. And the amount of times I've seen that happen at work because the person's forgotten to do it, although it was kind of funny once when there's a power cut, but that's a bit of a different story. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.